You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
Here we go again. So we are back, and we have had one whirlwind week.
It has been an experience.
It has been a real good experience. So I'm from New Jersey. You know, this is where I grew up. This is where I was raised. I wasn't born here, but this is where, you know, my roots were placed down, what makes Zod. And you know, this is where home life is. Everything is just love here. This is where I come back to get re-energized. This is where I come back to see my friends, my family, everything else. And there was a family, not a family, there was a school, high school. My high school reunion was this weekend, and Drea came along. And it was just a pleasure. It was just like the best thing to have her in tow and have her come and meet everybody that I grew up with, where I was, where I've been, what made me me. And I mean, just let them know.
We got to tell everybody else, too, what was included in the trip.
Tell them.
So not only then did I get to know your hometown, get to meet all the people that influenced you from first grade up to high school.
Yep.
But we also, and Zod included then in the trip, my first time to really enjoy New York City. And also, I got to go to north of the border. This little Mexican went to Canada.
Yes,
and
she did.
Went to Niagara Falls. And it was all-encompassing in this fantastic whirlwind trip. And
it was positive.
It was so much fun. I was born and raised in Phoenix, so you know, that's where we do our podcast from. That's where we're headquartered at. So I get the advantage of always exposing Zod to my world, my family, my friends, you know, the food, the culture. So this week was completely dedicated to really getting to know where you came from.
Yeah.
And what you're about and what you will continue to do from that.
And, I mean, we're talking about a stark difference from New Jersey and Arizona. So, I mean, I'm kind of used to Arizona because I've been living there for about 8 years. And coming from New Jersey, you know, I like to go and revisit both. So I go back and forth. So for her, it was a whole different experience and something that I think that, you know, she got something out of. So, I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about, you know, going individually to where we went?
Yeah, so when we got to the East Coast, we first started off our trip in Brooklyn. And we immediately, the minute we landed, got on the subway, which was, I love the subway. That I could take the subway all day long and just people watch and see all the different characters, every shape, size, nationality. I mean, the globe pretty much takes the subway.
Yeah, and that's how it is in New York. You know, this is what we did. We landed in Brooklyn. All right. All right. I don't know how much time we have, but so we landed in Brooklyn, and the first thing that we had to do is we had to get to the hotel, and actually we landed in Newark, and then we took a train into Manhattan first. So you know, she had to suck up the buildings, suck up the excitement. You know, it was at night, so suck up the lights, and also you know, suck up the piss smell outside.
A mixture of piss and cotton candy.
And homeless people.
That's how I describe it.
And that's what it was. But then we went off to Brooklyn, and, you know, just the train ride out there was really easy to do. But it's once we got off of the train ride. Once we got off
the station, we realized our hotel was a little bit of a trek. So we had to walk, about 2 blocks or so?
No. Well, after the train, we walked about, it was only like 2 blocks. But it was
not bad at all.
It was half a mile. It was actually half a mile.
There was, this girl from the West Coast isn't used to seeing a bunch of abandoned cars just randomly in a street. And yet, right between them would be like a Range Rover or a Mercedes.
Yeah, for no reason.
No reason at all.
And a truck with trash. Like a truck weighted down with trash and a ticket on the front windshield.
And a TV and tires.
But hold on. But you got to tell them what it was, what our route was.
a cemetery.
Yeah, the cemetery. Like you literally walked the outer limits of a cemetery in order to get to the hotel.
Like those creepy looking cemeteries that I would only see in like The Godfather.
Yeah, she's not used to those. She's not used to those. They're different out in Arizona, those
Oh
cemeteries.
my God. It was like I was so tempted to just want to walk into the cemetery. But you kind of stopped me and told me I'd get a ticket.
It was good what it was. Once we spotted the McDonald's and, which was across from the auto body shops, then we knew we were home.
Yeah.
So we were there, and surprisingly enough, there was a nice little hotel.
It was great. I have no issues with the hotel.
In the middle of some grimy spot in BK, but, home was home. And that's where we laid our heads and registered and went in there, went to the room, slept, and then, man, by morning it was on. It was on.
And you warned me. You said put on some walking shoes and be ready.
Yeah, because when I give somebody an East Coast tour, they get an East Coast tour. And, I mean, the things that we just saw, the distance that we went, she saw everything.
Now, where was our first stop?
The first stop that we went to, I meant to go to DeKalb, but not DeKalb. I meant to go to my old spot in Park Slope, over on President and 5th. But we wound up getting a book bag over in downtown Brooklyn first, and our first official stop in Manhattan was Wall Street.
Wow.
Because you wanted to see the burro.
I wanted to see the big bull. So again,
the charging bull.
The big charging bull, right? So again, only seen it in movies.
She's only seen it in movies and pictures.
Gotta see this bull, right? So we're going through, it was like what? Early in the morning, the hustle and bustle, the energy, loved it. I loved feeling all of the vibe going on, right? People making money and people looking sharp. Sharp! I got lots of fashion tips. That's all I got to say from the women of New York City. Bravo, ladies, for wearing your high heels, walking along those cobblestones. So anyways, we're going through the city and we're going through all just the really awesome buildings and places that are there. And we come across the bull, right? And all of a sudden, you pointed out to me like, "Hey, there's the bull." And I look at it. I said, "That's not a bull. That's a donkey. That's a burro."
Yeah, she said,
it was so small.
She said the charging bull is little.
It was so
for whatever reason, she thought this thing was going to be like 4 stories tall and like made out of fire and brimstone. And I'm like, what
if it wasn't for all the tourists around us, I was going to have you like boost me up so I could ride it.
I'm like, and trust me, the tourists were there.
Oh man.
And they were hogging it up. And of course, she wasn't aggressive enough. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is New York. This is in Arizona. You got to take what's
Here
yours.
I am opening a path for people.
Like,
no, please.
Hello,
first.
please. You first.
You first.
You first, sir. I was sitting there 20 minutes later like, babe, what are you... Yeah, no, that didn't work out. So we had a good time. We went from Wall Street. Then we moseyed on, not down to South Ferry, but we were kind of like close to that. We wound up walking in a circle because remember we got not the pizza, but we got the Snapples, and then we walked over to Ground Zero. So we went over to the World Trade Center 1, and that's where we were at the World Trade Center 1 and seeing the memorial there. Yeah, everything was opened up. It was cool. We took a lot of nice photos. If you follow us anywhere else, or if you're friends with us on Facebook, you'd see some of the photos. We might post them. Yeah, I guess we can post. We'll wind up posting some of the photos in the podcast group. And, from there, we just checked. I mean, you got to see the World Trade Center. But you remember you also went to Battery Park City.
Mm-hmm.
So you went to Battery Park so that you can see the Statue of Liberty. And
but seeing the memorial, I mean, that just really, I had no words for it, really. It to realize where I was and the spot that I was standing at with you and with everybody else that was there, and just realizing the lives that were lost.
Yeah. The memorial wound up really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't, I always walk by it, but I never really go to it. So, to see it, I'm like, yeah, this is nice. And it's kind of crazy because growing up over in Jersey and coming over to New York, since you were a little kid, you'd always go to the World Trade Center. Like, that's what it was. You looked up, you got vertigo, you got all dizzy, and it's like, oh, these buildings are awesome. Or you'd be in them, you go to the observation deck, and it's like, bam, they're not there anymore. So, they replaced it with one building with a big spiral, or spire, whatever it is, and it's all right. It's all right. But it's a nice little area, and the park is good, and it's good that you can still visit some of the other areas around there and still walk through it, and, it's still pretty open, so I'm happy about that.
And then after that,
After that, we took a train to, God, where did we go? We went to Canal Street. That's what it was. You went to Canal Street so you could see you were in the middle of Chinatown. And
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
And Little Italy.
Little Italy, you had your gelato. I mean,
you had your rice pudding.
Rice pudding. We had Rice to Riches, had to go there. Shout out to Kristen Burkhart, who wasn't there to enjoy the delicious rum raisin rice pudding that we had, that she's not going to get until the next time she gets in New York, which will probably be years from now. And
it was delicious. And I got tons of tchotchkes.
Yeah, tchotchkes. We got a whole bunch. It was great. So, we wound up, I'm trying to say, into the northern part, or at the southern part of Central Park. This is where we went to, because we went through Rockefeller, because you got to see that. You got to see the Rockets' last show or whatever they're having. You saw the cathedral. You saw. I'm looking at everything. We also ran to my man Jared Rayberg. Shout out to Jared Rayberg. We had to give him a shout out. You saw the what do you call it? The Ironbound, whatever building, whatever that. I think the Wall Street Journal. I forgot what's there anymore. It's just crazy because we walked. Tell them how far we walked.
Over 18 miles.
Yeah, on that day. So we walked because we wound up at 72nd. We went back and forth in Central Park, and then we finally took a train up to Harlem, Amy Ruth, where I met my sister. But, we just had a really good experience, communicating and really doing our thing. And
had my first Grace Papaya hot dog.
Grace Papaya, she was there. She had a
delicious.
Grace Papaya. She's in Brooklyn. Eventually she wound up having a pizza, at Pino's, like her first real pizza. That crap they serve in Arizona.
I'm messed up now. There's no way. Pizza is now a whole different level for me.
That's what it is. And, I don't even need to talk about, the stuff we really did in Jersey, but, we had a really good time because I had my high school reunion over there, and it was a blast. Just seeing everybody that we saw, and it was really a great experience. I'm hoping everybody that that was there, we get to reconnect, and, Drea made a whole bunch of new friends.
And I'd like to just do a personal shout out to the entire class that was there for being so generous with their time and so open to me. A total stranger that came in out of nowhere was just greeting and just wanted to be a part and support it, support my man into what he was creating with this group of people that haven't seen each other in over 20 years.
25.
Over 25 years,
Some
right?
25 years.
So my whole experience was so amazing, and I'm just grateful for it.
Yeah, same here. But we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But
please
right
listen
now,
carefully.
Please listen to this.
So, just an important date for everyone in Phoenix to know about. On August 23rd, there is an event going on at Valley Bar, our Government 101. And what it is that Valley Bar is offering then the opportunity for the community to come out and know your government. Discussion topic will be then homelessness. It's a difficult issue, and each person has a different story about it. So what they want to find out from the community is what different leaders are going to be doing about it, addressing the homelessness issue in Central Phoenix.
And make sure that you capture Zod and Drea every Tuesday night for our new podcast. And also go to @Zod and Drea, no matter where you are, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And be sure to catch us online at www.zodanddrea.com so that you can get involved. Okay, check the topics and you will be entered into our podcast.
All right.
Now
we're going to our topic session.
Here's the big topic.
All right, so the topic for today is the society dictates men pay on the first date.
Yes. So if men pay on the first date, you try to tell us when the opposite is true.
Mm-hmm.
So when would women pay for the first date? And now we're talking about something that is more tradition,
right,
versus, something that's more progressive. And, I know you and I were talking about, is this a threat to feminism?
Right, and what as traditions change and as society changes, and as dating has changed, especially with online dating, how does this does it even exist? Is it even a conversation anymore? And we found some really, really great feedback, interesting surveys, and it's pretty controversial, and it's really, and we also found out that it's still with some people an extremely important make or break factor when it comes to the second date, or if they even want to spend time with this person afterwards.
And it's funny. I mean, we're talking about something. I mean, to me, it's like, how do you connect your wallet, a man's wallet, to, what he gets afterwards? Because is it a promise? Why is it that the man should have to pay for the date, or at least the first date? I understand. My whole thing is, me personally, it's if somebody asks you on a date, hi, would you like to go out with me? Yeah. Then it's their obligation to offer. It's their obligation to offer. You asked me out. I was going to sit home. I was going to play, some Nintendo. I was going to chill. And you here you are like, hey, I want to take you out. Cool. I'm not bringing my wallet. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. That's how I see it. But some people say that no matter what, if he has a dick, then he's got to pay for her.
And then there's also, on a women's point of view, for me, it's
wrong.
It's offers. So whoever, again, does offer it or sets it up, if you will. So I did some research, too. And in the Emily Post etiquette book, I'm going way back here, it does indicate whoever initiates the date does put up the bill for it. But I look at it as again, for a woman, all of the times that I've gone on dates, the man does pay for it. I do offer, but most of the time, the gentleman that I'm going on the date with does pay for that. Whether that is whatever's instilled in him, I've never just really had an issue about it. But again, me being a working woman, independent, feminist also, I always offer. What I do like is the fact that for him to know that I am offering.
Okay, then hold on. So then if you offer and then he takes you up on your offer, does that now diminish his manhood in your eyes?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't diminish it in my eyes.
Like, would you ask for a second date?
Yeah, I would, because you don't know what is going on at that moment. You don't know. And I can't make the judgment. Mind you, though, if it was like a fancy schmancy dinner where he was ordering drinks like crazy and the lobster and the steak.
I've been on one of those.
And then all of a sudden I'm supposed to pay for it all. Yeah, then we got a little bit of an issue, but that doesn't usually happen on the first date. You know what I mean?
I've seen some. It's like they've never had a dinner before. It's like all of a sudden it's like, I want everything, and then they're taking it to go box, and then don't call you.
They're like, thanks for dinner for the next
thanks for that. I'm not gonna talk to you later. My name is Ann. I thought your name was Janie. So here's the funny thing. eHarmony had some information about this on what they said, and to quote them, the responses varied on this question, but the most common response was that men paid for dates for about 2 to 3 months before the bills were more evenly, if not equally, split. A few had relationships where men paid for almost all of the dates. So there is actually, on this in eHarmony, they're saying that there's actually a time zone, there's a time limit or so, as into men have to or should pay for between 2 to 3 months first before there's even an option for splitting equally. In other words, she doesn't even pay. Like, it goes from him all to the split. Like, she keeps her money. My whole thing about that is intention. It's like, what's the intention and why is that? It's like, we're in 2016, so we're trying to figure out that, women are equal. They're equal in every way. They're Marines. They serve in the military. They have corporate positions as presidents and top positions. Now, granted, they are still not getting paid what they should be getting paid, and that's a problem. But where feminism is concerned, where they have fought so much, they burn bras and, Gloria Steinem and, busting their asses in order to get to an equal footing of where men typically are, they're actually going to sit back and be happy for a man controlling the situation on what they eat and what they get to pay for. It's like, when do you then become that type of woman versus the big feminist type? Is it all or nothing, or is it equal?
And see, I look at it, and some of the responses that we received too, we're going to talk about those. But I look at it as it's the sharing of the power, not that there's one person that owns it all. It's communication, first of all, in the beginning of what is expected. Because as we know, everybody has their own relationship to money and what that makes them feel as some sort of power. So is it with the first date, women can now, women do get this mixed signal of, is it romance or is it coercion? Am I going to have to owe you something after this?
That's just it.
If you pay for my dinner? So instead, is it the exchange of power that goes on? I always look at it as what is expected in the beginning. Why not have that conversation on the first date of, well, what is this? Because then, now, if it's just we split the bill, you have some women that look at it that say, well, we're splitting the bill. That means we're just friends.
And that's what, it's funny that you say that. Because, I think it was mine. I saw something online. Did you have anything about that? I saw someone who actually said that they broke it down. I think it was in the same article in eHarmony that if you go Dutch, then it's more so that you're just friends. It's going to be platonic. If the man pays, then there may be more. Online, we have my friend Robin, who had something interesting. She had said a woman should always do the reach for the wallet and have enough cash to back it up. Regardless of who asks, the man should always offer. So to her, the woman should always have a plan B, have the money in her pocket, but the guy should always offer regardless. So in other words, the woman should have the option of saying no.
Right.
He shouldn't. So, she has a different type of perspective on the same thing, where the woman has a backup, so be independent, but he should be the one to offer. I mean, 9 times out of 10.
Well, as a grown adult, come on. It's like if you're going someplace to eat, you better be able to take care of yourself.
You better take care of yourself. Like,
right.
Especially, don't go all empty, like, look. And, third date, I swear on everything. I went on a date with this girl when I was in Phoenix, one of the first times in Phoenix. 3 dates. I should have learned by the second one, but like each time she didn't have her wallet. I'm like, well, like, I didn't even smash. It was like,
oh my God.
Like, what do you want? So it's like, if you're not offering something, I'm not, like even Robin said, like, I'm not turning into prostitution, but, something has to come out of it. And it's not just the option. To me, it's not just the option of, oh, I'm so happy that I got to spend time with you and feed you. I do the same thing for my cat.
Well, you just made the point, though, about the date that you were on, that, hey, all these times she didn't bring a wallet and you didn't receive anything so far in return. What were your expectations then?
The thing is, I didn't even have expectations, but at some point, I think what's funny? My expectation was, is she going to, definitely by the third one. From the second one, I was like, but by the third one, like, is she going to reach for a wallet? Because it was almost, what's she going to do? It wasn't even sex. I just wanted to see what she was going to do. So we hung out, and I sat there for a minute. Check came, sat, wait. Okay, is she going to reach? I should have just gone to the bathroom and never come back. But she didn't reach. So I was like, I'm going to be out. So that was it. Paid. I was gone. So, right. Lesson learned. Bet you nobody else did that to me again. I'll tell you that much.
And see, now you carry that with you.
Hell yeah, I'm going to carry that. I forgot. And you know what's messed up? Like, her name and her face, like, pops up on my LinkedIn every once in a while for no reason. I'm like, I don't know who you are. We stopped talking like 6 years ago. Shut up. Get out of here. Cornball.
So,
I'm still begging out there.
Had another response of saying, from a woman saying, I don't like men to pay for me, as I am afraid they will feel that I owe them something in return. So again, it goes back to the exchange of power.
It is power.
It is definitely a power struggle that goes on.
But is it more of a power in a woman's head than a guy's? See, a guy he's based on tradition. So a guy has tradition and years of tradition of this. So sometimes it's even ingrained in him. So then...
But would you even say that for millennials now?
No, millennial. Well, for millennials now, they're not based so much on tradition, except for maybe what their parents may have told. But considering most of them are raised by Generation Xers, like myself, probably not, because we were more of the even though in the 70s they were more the independent fighting for your rights. The Generation Xers are the ones who really fought to get to that point, and then the millennials are kind of like just coasting off of the backs of. if that makes any sense. So to them, I think that they are, or they feel more equal. And for them, I don't know if it's so much payment of sex or whatever. I think they're a lot freer regardless of their sexuality. I think that a millennial, so I don't know if money has anything to do with that, or, you know, a free dinner on a first date. I think they'll probably give it up faster.
Well, and going back to, like you said, tradition, right? I was looking up that Refinery 29 did a survey with millennials and regarding dating and the first date and who pays for what. And there still is this expectation, at least from the women that were surveyed, that, yeah, the man should at least pay for the first, because, again, if the bill is split, then the woman interprets it that we're buddies. He doesn't really like me.
Yeah,
but then for men, it then is not so much, again, this is just the millennials that they were surveying, that it's no big deal. Like, yeah, we'll split it. Okay, we'll split it. It's almost like they're expecting, and in one case, this gentleman said, yeah, I'm always expecting to split the bill.
Yeah.
Why should the first date be the main give or take? Let's just split the bill, because I don't know what this is going to happen. This is exactly what this guy said.
And eHarmony, again, on Going Dutch, says, in one study of dating scripts, participants were asked to point out elements of a good, bad, and typical date. Surprisingly, both men and women agreed that a bad date was one in which both parties paid for themselves. Translation, Going Dutch isn't the best idea if you're trying to impress your date and want to see them again. So in other words, if you want to impress them, they're saying that you should pay as a man. Like, if you're trying to impress. So apparently, like, it is a power thing also, because if you don't, it's like, oh, let's go Dutch. They're not impressed with you. They think you're average. You're not above anybody else. So I'm trying to find the difference in what the weight balance is between somebody who's just simply a gold digger and somebody who's following tradition, or somebody who's just a more new millennial woman who doesn't really give a shit about that stuff. You know, where does it lie? Boston Globe says, which is a LearnVest survey in 2013, found that a majority of men and an even larger majority of women thought the man should pay on the first date. And then after surveying some 17,000 heterosexual unmarried individuals from the ages of 18 to 65, Janet Lever of California State University, Los Angeles, and two colleagues reported that men typically still pay for most of a couple's expenses, even after they've been dating for a while. And I think that's where I would like to be in that category, where it's more so tradition. It's more tradition, even though it is, and it might be against what I may be saying, but there's something ingrained with you where it is a type of chivalry that counts. And I think that that's where it all matters. You know, it's your own personal preference and what works with a couple. And
nobody is having to feel that they should owe somebody something afterwards. That, however that conversation occurred, that's just bull. After the first date, no, there is no owing of nothing to nobody. You're getting to know each other.
Exactly.
You know?
But you know what? I say we take it out with a couple phone callers that we had, some interviewers. You know, let them sum up probably what the rest of this topic is about.
Because we could go on and on about this.
Exactly. So let's hear from them right now.
I would think if I invited him out, then I would probably have to pay. Or if we're on the date and his card got declined for no reason, and to save him the embarrassment, I'd just be like, okay, I'll pay for it.
For me personally, if I invite the person on a date, then I'm going to pay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask them, hey, let's half it.
Yeah.
But I think whoever asks, whether it's the woman or the man, should be the one to treat.
And that's it. That's it.
We got some strong opinions.
We got some strong opinions, and you know, this was a really good show. Even though we're broadcasting out of an airport right now, but you know, we bring it to you no matter what. Tuesday's a Tuesday.
And we want to thank you guys for following us and telling us when you're eager to hear about our next podcast. This is why we took this on the road with us.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, shout out to the Think Tank for helping us do what we do.
Think Tank.
To doing what we do, and we want to make sure that you guys are following us on our Twitter pages, Zod and Andrea, which is on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can
Zod
find
Andrea, you mean?
Oh yeah, you know, your name, whatever. It's Zod Andrea. You know, see, this is what happens when I've been traveling with her for a whole week and saying her real name. All right, so Zod Andrea. Even though, like I said, Zod and Andrea. Zod Andrea. So check us out. And peace to the Morristown High School class of 1991. The 20th reunion was awesome.
I'm coming home, Phoenix.
All right, take it easy.